Good evening from a beautiful North Devon evening. I hope you're all safe and well. So we'll just wait for a few people to come onto our live feed. That's as long as the signal's working. Always panic about the state. Oh, there's a few people popping in. Good evening, folks. Welcome to another Sunday slot with Tom, and yet again Sue's in the house. She's paying poll tax.
Yeah, I was going to say, the resident squatter.
Beanie, how you doing? Good to see
Beanie.
you here. Dan Savage, hope you're feeling better, Dan. I know you've been struggling a little bit. So, yeah, we've got a few things on the cards tonight. But what I will start off with, Mrs. I'll let Sue do this because I'm always getting it wrong, telling where people to go. It's tonight's raffle prize. 4, 6 and 8 of our awesome hooks. No worries ago, who was that? We're missing a few. So if you Colin, missing loads of people now. Rob, is that Rob or Bob? I can't see that. Bob. And who's that? Richard. No, more than welcome, Richard. Hope you get lots of reviews. Mr. Rice, our fishery manager. I don't know, is he still fishing?
No, he's gone.
Oh, we had one today down on Jack's
He
Pool.
did.
So fishing the system. So yeah, so Sue will just hold it up. This is the raffle prize tonight. So all you've got to do if you want to win this raffle prize, the 4, 6 and 8s and curve shanks is
PM yes to the Pallatrax page, and please only do it while this is live because this will be drawn before the end of this live feed.
Hi Reese, hi Paul, how you doing, folks? So a few people popping in. So yes, having a mare, but okay. Keep smiling, Dan. Keep smiling, mate. Quick question for Sue: what's the new test bait that was tried today? She can no tell.
It's a secret.
Secret.
I'd get shot.
Pete Paddock, good evening. He's gone home for his tea. James, how you doing? No, it's a good thing about having my own lakes again. Over the years, I've always come up with lots of different ideas and lots of different ways of attracting the bite. Hi, Robert. Hope you well, mate. Hope you had a good session today. So, yeah, with Sue being here at the moment, helping out on loads of fronts, when she gets the opportunity, I said to her, I've got this idea. It's been in the back of my mind forever. I can't get sorted. Hi Terry. So today I actually, though we're making bait, full hands to the pumps today at Ashmansworthy, making multi-worm, but I did just stop for half an hour to put this little test bait together. Bear with us, folks. It is literally at the start point, and it will take me quite a few months to get certain levels, but it's something I've wanted to do forever, and it's all to do with the fish's olfactory and how it will find things. Simon Weston, how you doing? I have fruit cider and chocolates as Beanie. Now you've been naughty, Beanie. We like a little bit of naughtiness. So fruit cider, I'm off it. I'm off the chocolate. 2 weeks today, Beanie. 2 weeks today. It's
Impressive.
been a nightmare. So we'll just tell you about the raffle because there's a few more people there. Don't forget, ping through to yes on the Pallatrax messenger.
And tonight,
not on the Team Pallatrax.
sorry. Tonight's prize is 3-pack of our curve shank grips hooks in 4, 6 and 8.
Just to update folks who, because obviously we're on the main Pallatrax page here, we've had carpology down here at Ashmansworthy Pools last week. Lots more filming to do, yeah, it's some hopefully very exciting stuff coming your way. So watch out on the Carpology channel or on Pallatrax's Catch More Fish TV. Hi Dave, how you doing? Right, so we've got some questions, but before we're doing that, I'm just going to run through for those who, he says, I've got everything there. So I'm going to have to move my wonderful Sue across here, and I'm going to come out in the middle here, because I'm going to show you something that many of you know already. Will be in the know on this and move my tank across. But just to show you, this is a good all year round tactic. It's easy to put together, so I'll show you the component parts, but it is really good in the winter. Just move all this stuff around, and it's one of the reasons that I've developed. Hi Paul, I'll let Gary, I'll let Sue deal with the hellos, because I can't do two things at once because I'm a bloke. So I'm just going to show you, it's a really easy little setup for fishing in the winter, because you can use maggots a lot more in the winter than you can in the summer, because the silvers are obviously just about everything. Howdy doody, Liz Bunyan. We'll eat them. But in the winter, fish slow down with temperature. It's almost like semi-hibernation. And so therefore, if you think about it, the carp are bigger, so they're more likely to feed for longer periods of time or eat more than a small silver, for example. So, and the silvers aren't very, they're not moving around our waters. They're very much bunched up in shoals and protect themselves from predators and things like that. But using maggots within winter fishing is a must in many ways. And this is a way to combine kind of, I suppose, the man-made with the natural. Hi, Michael. Welcome to the team. Sorry, to the fish. Don't even know where I am. The live feed even. Right, so, because I get all confused, bear with me, folks, but hopefully this will work. So I'm just going to turn around. So I've got a tank here as well. So, as many of you know, this is my standard stone setup. So I've got my stone, my swivel stone, running along a piece of tubing. And then onto a tulip bead, so that just sits over the top of the tulip bead. Then I'm still running, my stone is still running because it's on that, and then I'm fishing my favoritist rig, the old LQ rig. So obviously stones for all its benefits. So we'll put that side apart and we're just going to focus on this. So in my winter fishing, but I do it all year round, but it's a must in my estimation in the winter. Do consider it's all about the ingredients. It will always be about the ingredients to me. So do, as long as you know it's a good quality. Obviously this is a new product, our hardened hook baits, which will be out in about a week's time. So basically these are hardened and boosted hook baits, and that's the film we've just done with Carpology. This is pineapple. That's a food HMV squab in there, 18mm squabs, and every one has been pre-drilled. And what actually happens is this glug and the attractors will actually really soak into those baits, really scream out flavour and attractants. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to stimulate the olfactory system of the fish to find it when it's really kind of just sitting there doing nothing a lot of the time. So it's trying to light a flare of attraction. So with these, as I say, you might get a little bit mucky, but hey, getting a bit sticky is going to be worth it. Hi Anton, hope you're well, matey. So if you can see, these ones have got central here, and the reason is because this is a really good thing for fishing against poisson chat and smaller fish, because it goes the sugar content, it goes really makes it really hard hook bait. So you've got super boosted and hard hook bait. So I'm going to whack that on my hair. I'm on the size 6 wide gape. This is always a challenge, getting it through the hair loop when I can't see. Oh, I should have had one I made earlier. But so there. So I'm going to get a little bit sticky, but like I say, I don't care, because the amount of fish that come to a screamed out boosted hook bait all time of the year. So pop my little stop on there. Oh, bear with me, folks. Age, don't get old. So that's the first thing. So as I say, it's on that LQ rig with the steam link with the really supple rotation there. So I don't want to put out a lot of grub in the winter, because basically you're really looking to fish are really have slowed up in their in their feeding habits. So if you put a big pile out, mathematically your odds will decrease. So I'm just going to use, this is just the boilie one, so this is the really thin one. So the next thing is and I just used the cap off of that, and this is some of our new pellet. This will be coming out very soon. I've sourced another pellet, really impressed with this, feeding all the fish at my fishery with it. Currently it's only available in 6mm, but massively good quality. So I'm just going to pour that little bag full into there. And if you don't know how to use this stuff, I do like using tea bags, as we call these in the game. So I'm just going to really, my PVA is really tough old stuff. So you can pull this down and pull it down. There's nothing wrong with adding a few other bits of extra, like some broken boilie, but again, don't never ever forget, it's all about the ingredients. You know, this pellet is the real deal. You don't want to have I've seen people fishing with chicken feed pellets, and you think, what am I doing? So I bunch that really into a nice little bag, and then all you've got to do to tie it off is, let me try and do this, so like that, and then really grab hold of the knot, and then just pull down, and then you'll get a really tight little bag. And what you want to make sure you do as well, just get ready for your next bag. So just put a overhand loop in it, draw it down, and then all you've got to do then is cut that off, and that's ready to go for your next bag. So going to go over to my hook bait. It is PVA friendly, that the liquid that glugs in, that's been glugged in, so no problems, and just give it a couple of nicks. Don't go through the actual knot, because that PVA can take a long time to break down. And last but not least, and this is something I say, it's not used a lot. It used to be used loads in the old days, the old faithful gentles, our maggots. And I am a fan of the red ones. It could be just me. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to, the nice thing with the grips is they are so sharp. And also what you've got is you've got the grips grooves, so the maggots can't come off. And so what you're doing here is you're just adding a bit of movement, a bit of natural attraction, just tipping it off. And so that is my ready to go plan of attack. So I'm not putting method on, I'm just using a little tea bag, high boosted attract bait, and a couple of maggots on there as well. You can put 3 or 4, whatever. But hang on a second, I'll just move a few things away, and what we'll do is we'll stick it in the tank, and then we can come back and have a look later on. So the nice thing as well is having a bag. It actually, in the cast, the bag will pull things out, will really actually pull it out. So again, looking at that anti-tangle element of it. So I'm just going to drop my rig in there, and let's see if I can zoom in a bit. So you can see the maggots there. Let me see, I always struggle with this, folks, bear with me. There you go. I want a PVA that breaks down really quickly, even in cold water, especially in cold water conditions. So I don't think I can zoom. Oh, they can zoom a little bit more in there. And so what you've got is a little snack, nothing more, a mouthful for some of these big fish we're fishing. And it really is, just look at it. If you think about it, your hook's masked. It's all really good food. It's actual food. We're using attractants that literally we know fish will nail. So it's a really good way of going, and you've got that little bit of sighter in there, little bit of movement. Remember, fish fine, not through vision necessarily, though it's obviously in many lakes it's a lot clearer in the winter. But the fact is those maggots will be causing vibration, will be leaking. So basically it's a really good parcel of food, and it's easy to put together, relatively cheap in the big scheme of things. So yes, so there you go. So do have a go at that. It's like I say, I swear by it, and we'll come back in a bit and have a look. So let me come back, and then Sue can join us again, and if we've got any questions, because I wasn't looking at anything. Right.
Draw all over myself.
Oh, that's me.
Sorry.
Crushed my leg.
Get a little bit too close.
Right, let me just move that back a bit. There we go. So, Sue, are we up to go? We've got some questions.
We certainly have. We've had lots of hellos. I've been replying to people as we go. I've been doing a bit of that multitasking.
Awesome.
So the initial question we had was from Gary King, and it kind of ties in a little bit to that, which was asking you about the use of PVA during the colder months and slower melt times.
Right. there is other questions coming through. So what I'll do is I'll do the questions here while Sue makes notes. Oh, well, it's great. Loads of questions, but then got to get through them all now. Right, so that one was the use of PVA during colder months, slower melt times. Is that the one you said?
Yeah, that's
right.
the one.
So yeah, like I say, PVA is very, very. It's all about the temperature of the water, to be quite honest. And you've just got to remember that in the winter, it can. You just need to use a good quality PVA and test it out. I mean, I had a gentleman down here recently. He reeled in a rig, and it'd been out there for an hour, and his PVA bag hadn't melted down. So God knows what that was made of. But it's definitely a winter tactic. Like I say, small bags. But just remember to test your PVA bags, wherever you get them from, whether it's the netting or an actual bag, to see how quickly they break down. Because that is something, like I've noticed it in there. There's some cheap stuff out in the trade and it doesn't melt down. It's just, waste of time, isn't it? But certainly, it's a great tactic, as I just highlighted there. It really, I can see this in the tank in front of me, and you can see why it would work. And why it does work. It's just a really, especially when you focus on those ingredients. Donna, how did you... that was about the new bait. Yes, we will. It's hi, Christian. Thanks for all. Christian's just sent some awesome photos, including a 140-pound plus, many plus catfish. His scales bottomed out, so shows your grips and multi-worm holding strong and doing the business. Well done, Christian. Good to see you as well. So here's one. I'll read this and then Sue can, because it's actually for Sue. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
I have two. This is Gary King. I have twin daughters that fish with me. Fantastic. How do you find a new range of ladies' clothing, choice, fit, cost, and so on, via our clothing partner, which is Patrick at the Print Biz? We have a deal with Patrick, and he does a load of clothing for us. Over to you, Sue.
Yeah, it's good. To be fair, it's really good. I personally tend to wear the men's sizes, particularly because I'm a little bit bigger. Yeah, because I like chocolate too much, and I just prefer the fit. I like a loose fit rather than the sort of more fitted versions that you get with sort of ladies' sizes that I tend to find. But no, they are great. And just on that, if there's ever anything you want, when you go onto the Print Biz site, he does have a catalogue at the top, and you can literally ask him for anything at all that's in there.
Or give him a call. Paddy's a really approachable guy. If you've got any particular wants, he'll help you, and we work closely with him, don't we?
Yeah, we do. He's done this sweatshirt. I don't know if you can see.
Yes, there's what Pom and Sue, Angling Ventures,
that I asked him to do for us, and I just sent him a little design, and he drafted it up and sent it back. And to be fair, he did it really quickly as well. The
nice thing is it's embroidered.
Yeah,
the stuff. So the trouble is when you have it screen printed, half the time it flakes off after a year or so. Yeah. So because this is actually embroidered and it's quality gear. So yeah, Paddy at the Print Biz. Just reach out to him, have a chat with whatever, and he's got a vast amount of options to put Pallatrax branding on. So I'm going to go to another question now. Duncan, all the way from the Channel Islands. Hi, Duncan. Now that winter is not too far away, do you change anything about your approach when the carp are... What's that? That's all right.
When the carp are less active.
Less active. Well, it's very much about location in the winter if we're talking carp fishing. And it's very difficult to locate them in the winter. So that's when watercraft, knowledge... Tom Upton, good evening. He's been on holiday. Hi, Stephen. So location is so key if you can find them. Now, if you look at my lakes here, they're in front of you because the lake is the swim, if that makes sense. So I'm very keen, as I said at the beginning of using high attract hook baits that stimulate. They're probably not even hungry. I don't know. We can't ask fish questions, but you're trying. It's a bit like a salmon where you're trying to instigate a bite by ripping a shrimp past its face. It's not eating, but it's just an instinct thing. So, you know, what we're doing is moving baits around. Don't just, you know, if you don't, I was saying to Sue earlier, it's all of my, like, you know, setting out a rabbit snare. You can't expect a rabbit to run straight the way through it. But the trouble is in the winter, they're just not moving around much. Yeah. And so what you've got to do is, and I do promote, is certainly move hook baits. If you see a fish, you've got to go chasing it. You've got to go after them, you know, and move. You know,
and that's what I was doing earlier. I literally set my watch, and every half an hour, I mean, I was fishing 3 rods because I was on my own on bends, and I was just moving them, and I was also working my way through all the different super boosted hook baits just to try and find what they would want. And whenever I saw movement, which was only, to be fair, a couple of times, I would cast to it. I did have a bit of a knock on one of the baits, but that was all. So.
But then Matt was on. He'd fused his up with hemp oil down on Jack's, and he caught within really quickly.
Really quickly.
How do you feel about All Female Week next year? Wow, am I getting invited?
No,
so I said yes to it. So we need to organise dates for. Yeah, let's do it. The more the merrier. Yeah, we can have a bit of a laugh and a giggle. Be good to see you again, Beanie. Without a shadow of a doubt. So hopefully, Duncan, let's say keep active, try and find the fish. Local knowledge of where fish come out, you know, or might be holding up and things like that. But you can, hi Donna, but you can really score big in the winter if you locate the fish. Because I believe, again, this is, you know, it could be wrong, but because it's based on just my kind of experience. But I've had some really good hits in the winter, and I'm sure because I go in, well done Lee, I go in on the shoal, nick a fish, and because they're basically asleep in many ways, that's the best way to describe them, they don't all spook off. So you can go back in, and I've had some big hits like that in the winter because they just haven't moved off. Terry, yes, we can cater.
Do you want me to answer that one?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Terry, they can most definitely cater for a motorhome down here. I bring mine all the time. If you're up on Charlie's pool, you can even plug it into the. They've even got an electric socket up there for your motorhomes or caravans. So, most definitely.
Yeah, we specifically did that. Thanks, Lee. Now I think I'll steer clear of that one, mate. We'll be doing that in Lequy in March.
Yeah.
So there we go. Right, questions. Colin Canham. Would you ever consider? This is an interesting thing, and I don't want to sound defeatist in my thoughts here. Would you ever consider opening an angling shop again? For those who don't know, I've had a couple of tackle shops in my time in the industry. What advice would you offer anyone considering it? Is it time for something different? Being frank and being honest, we take dogs. We love dogs, Terry. As long as they're well behaved, and they tend to be more well behaved than some of the people I've met historically. Not down here, I hasten to add. So, firstly, would I open a tackle shop? It's hard. I've just heard a shout from outside my wife saying no. It's really hard now with the onset of the internet. With big, you've got big companies out there that have pretty much kind of taken over the UK. It's a shame, massive shame, but it's just fact. Whether it's progress or not, I don't know. I think probably not in sometimes, because as a kid I used to go into the tackle shop in Melbourne up in Derby and have a good chat with the guy behind the counter, and it was a great place to social and things like that. But the truth of the matter is the internet's here to stay. Sales of goods, you can't blame people. You can get something delivered to your door where you don't have to travel. You can get it at the best price possible with a bit of research. So, the truth of the matter is, I think where we're going, you'll have tackle shops on fisheries. They're always successful in the main. Then you'll have what I call, topographical. I don't know if that's a word. But basically shops like Christchurch Angling, just off the back of the royalty fishery down in Christchurch, those kind of places potentially will still go. I think it's very difficult for a high street tackle shop with no diversification to survive in this day and age. And unfortunately, bits like post offices and pubs, we're seeing this all the time. You know, we're seeing it going downhill. I mean, whereas for us, you see, we only sell some stuff into trade because, to be quite honest, we couldn't afford to sell our baits in, you know, our HMV baits. We just could not afford to sell them, where many anglers look at the price and think, you know, it's about the price, when actually it's about the ingredients and the price of the ingredients. So I hate to admit it, being in the trade, I'm afraid that it is contracting and will continue to contract. You'll have these big warehouse kind of style shops that you know, are pretty soulless in many ways, from my experience, because I love to be able to go in and talk to people. You know, great place for local watercraft, finding out about different initiatives that the shops would have, like kids clubs and all this kind of thing. So yes, Lee. Sorry, Lee's just come on the back of that. So hopefully, Colin, that's kind of asked your question. I might be wrong, you know, obviously, that, you know, you get it right and do everything right, but it's a massively competitive market and massively saturated. But yes, Lee, there's just no way on earth I'm not going to cut the ingredients. There's no way I'm going to cut the ingredients, as you well know. So I'm afraid I just can't compete with other brands that are selling baits, you know, that I just can't afford to, because as I say, I'm not going to cut the ingredients and bulk out. It's very important to me. I'm very passionate about bait, to not only provide a good bait for us, the angler, but also something that's good within the fisheries. So right. So hopefully, Colin, that's question answered. I get you, mate. Yeah, no, it's a shame, Lee, obviously, because, you know, we can't reach you know, a certain amount of anglers who would like to buy the bait. But you know, in reality, if you work out the maths on my bait, you're talking at the RRP of about £25 a kilo if it went through trade, and people wouldn't understand that why it was priced at that. And I want to stay competitive and be as cheap as I can by providing the best quality ingredient as I can. So Dan Savage, could you tell me the difference between coppins, screttings and carp pellets? Sorry, I'm taking a lead on some of these, because this is kind of my bag. They all have different formulations. The nice thing, no worries, Carl, we're still going. Sue will hold up the raffle prize. We'll just do this quickly. There's loads of people here. So tonight's free raffle is 4, 6 and 8 in our phenomenal grips, but in the curve shank. All you have to do is send yes to the Pallatrax messenger page.
That's correct.
Mike, I'm getting it right. Going back to Dan Savage, about the good thing about coppins, screttings and such like is that they are fully regulated fish farming pellets. So they're good for the fish, good for the fishery. Fish gain healthy weight and things like that. What's passed through is all analysed and things like that. It's me! Good evening, all the way up in Scotland. Hope you're well, girl. When you've got coppins and screttings and regulated pellets, you know they are the real deal. It's funny, really. It's something that I find actually a little bit frustrating when people talk about PVA bags. You know, they talk about a PVA bag as the tactic, when it's just the name of the bag. The tactic is actually what's inside the PVA bag. And so you say to people, well, what have you got in there? And they go, pellets. And you go, what pellets? And they go, well, don't know. You know, that's the thing. And so, that's where you've got to be really careful, because you want to, you're far better off buying less of a really good quality pellet and using less, because its protein values and things like that are all out the air. Poms. We wish, Christian, one day it'll happen. Just like an under-a-counter special. I just can't get one ingredient. I can't. I think I might have found a place, but next year perhaps, or over the winter I might have a play. So when it comes to pellets, you just got to be careful. If it's screttings, coppins and the like, they are fully regulated, all DEFRA, all analysed properly, and it's the right stuff to be using. I see people, as I say, using pig pellets, chicken feed pellets, or no, just because it's called pellet. It's just, a pellet is just a shape. It's all about the ingredients. So, but I can vouch for the likes of coppins and screttings. I've just sourced the new pellets I mentioned earlier. It's a new player on the market. Again, fully regulated. Really impressed with its efficiency and how good it is for the fish to get on it. And so it's a win-win. You know, it's a win-win for us, the anglers, and a win-win for the fisheries it's fished in, because it's a proper supplementary diet. Chris, do you want to take that? I'll shut up another one from the Chris there. Question.
Chris Devine's saying, now the weather is drastically changing here in the south, and I'm guessing in the north too. What is your top tip for autumn and winter?
I suppose we covered that.
We have really covered that. So hopefully you've
using things like this. Yeah. And again, I'm quite happy to sell people this, because I think it's an awesome, unique bait format that just works so well. So finding something that's still food source, so it's not just an out and out lure, and really boosting it. And then you know, taking this question again, I'm sorry, but don't just stick with one flavour.
Yeah.
You know, we've been chatting a lot about that, haven't we?
We really have, yeah.
Sue, some of the stuff I did at my old fishery, and you know, I was very lucky in many ways, well, lots of ways, to be able to, because I had a small fish farm there as well, and to really see how fish, especially carp, and tench to some degree, they just it's how they find your bait, and we don't really focus on that. You know, a lot of people assume, well, they will see it. Well, not at night, they don't. They haven't got torches on their flippers. They basically, or have they, little head torches? But yeah, I mean, it's about how they find it, and obviously it's a lot easier for them to find it if you go to them to find it, instead of you thinking that they'll come to you, because that's a big no-no. And I do see that a lot in carp fishing, and I can understand. Don't get me wrong, if you're enjoying it, fine. I have to catch. That's kind of my personal motto. If other people are happy to stay in a swim and can't be, you know, not bothered to move, it's not, you know, it's not in their, you know, DNA to chase fish around. But if you can chase fish and stay on fish, you'll be, yeah, you'll raise the mathematical odds of you catching. And then if you really make it a high boosted, high attract, and you can find the right flavour. I mean, I'm looking at this if I just turn this round now a second, so you can see what's been going on, if this works. So what we got now is the pellet, but I don't know if you can see over towards here, see how all that is all the glug moving around. The pellets are now breaking down, and my little maggots are still wiggling around in there, and they're moving the pellet. And like I say, you'd be surprised how sensitive fish are to finding those things. And obviously the cherry on the cake is that super boosted hook bait screaming out. You know, it's incredible. Even they're just watching how those maggots are lifting up the hook and things like that. So you're getting movement. Movement's a massive thing to a fish. That's how they detect a lot of things moving around, but on a sensory level where they can feel it through the substrate, so they can feed on things that they can't visually see, but they can. It's like this, as you can see there with those maggots. So there we go. There was a question that seemed more suited to. It was just so.
I can read it. Carl Wilkinson saying, on top of the explanation of the pellets, from my own experience, Skretting seems stickier than Coppins pellets and seem more suited to a method feeder, if that helps.
Yeah, well, they've got different formulations, and within, you know, both of those companies, I know them well. I mean, they have like dozens of different ranges for different fish, you know, trout pellet, halibut pellet, coarse carp, and different sections within the species as well. So is it time for the apple flavour? People keep on telling me. I tell you what was really interesting. When I bought that, we're talking probably 25 years ago, it's apple and walnut and clove oil on a yellow seed mix. And it's the first actual bait. Though a lot of people think Jungle's my first bait I ever developed. Poms. So it was apples and pom, whatever my nickname. And we caught so many fish on it, but so many people wouldn't fish on it because it was like a luminous green colour. I was using natural dyes, and that's how it turned out. And And people said back in those days, you won't catch something that's flavoured with fruit and nuts, and you won't catch something that weird a colour. And we were consistently catching on it, and people wouldn't fish it for all the wrong reasons. And now you look at the array of colours and flavours out there. So, that would catch me, Lee, on a cider-based one.
I need to give a little shout out to my mum. She's watching. Hi, Betty.
Oh, sweet. Hello, Mum.
She's watching.
We're looking after her. Don't you worry. We're looking after her. She won't leave. So, any other ones?
Yeah, we've got a few. I'll just read Terry's out first. Terry says, do you think that trying to fish around work hours and getting just a couple of hours in the morning or evening can be just as productive as fishing all day?
I think you work harder.
Yeah, I think you do.
When you've got limited time. I know I do. Lots of reference to chocolate going on
there
there.
Is.
Les, the Krungle range is there actually as a team exclusive, but you need to ring through the office for that one. I think you work harder. It's like if you look at when I used to match fish poorly. I wish I knew now what I know about baits and things like that. You do work. I think you work harder. I do.
Yeah, I agree. Michael, I was just coming to your question, but you've asked it again, so that's fine. He's saying, what's your opinion on maggot bait dipped on the glugs, as I've done really well with a bunch of maggots, white, dipped in the almond glug? Yeah.
And I know other, especially match anglers. I mean, the trouble with some of our products, people don't talk about them too much. And especially because I focus a lot of my kind of design around match fishing and things like that. Anything that you can do to, increase the odds of a bite can only be a good thing, as long as the ingredients right. If you're just kind of guessing things like that. But our glugs obviously do what they do. They're very thick, they're very sticky, and they will stick to your maggots, and the whole design is to increase the odds of a bite. So you're proving it to yourself. It's not just for a boilie, it's a glug for any bait. As long as the bait's dry when it goes in there, dried luncheon meat, all kinds of things you can put in there, because it's just something else to add that added attraction to get more bites.
Sometimes I'll even put my little PVA mesh bag with pellet into the glove and then cast it straight out, just to get that extra attraction. It is a bit messy if you don't cast it quickly. It can drip on your head and all up your bivvy and
everywhere.
Everywhere.
No, it's that's what we're looking to do. These are all safe, they're all regulated products, but what we're trying to do is, we're really happy. If you look at, like, just me, I'm not talking for Sue here, but I know I'm talking for Sue, if that makes sense. If you look at, our friends who just came across from Canada, basically, we fish that very simple stone system. We fish that LQ rig in 99% of our approaches, and then we're manipulating our hook baits and our presentation. So we might be using method. We might be using method in the winter, but it's jam full of naturals, because the air content in the naturals will just make them explode everywhere. So we don't really focus anymore, and it's not a case of being a one-trick pony, because either up in the water, I'll be on the surface, or zig rigging, things like that. But when I'm on the deck, and I'm just changing hook sizes and things like that for different species. But, like Dan just said, we kept it simple, and look what happened. Yeah. Only thing that was changed was hook bait. So that's how I'm not here to tell anybody how to fish, but I can certainly help by drawing you to the facts and the conclusions that I've come up with. And so I think a lot of people don't catch because of the inconsistency within modern fishing. We'll just take a product. So Ronnie rig. So there's a rig out there that we probably all have heard of, the Ronnie rig. But you then look at anglers' different kind of designs of the Ronnie rig. There can never be any consistency. So the LQ rig, we know, is always consistent. It always catches. There's lots of reasons why that system has been designed. And I don't use anything else. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Obviously people like to experiment and things like that. But all I'm interested now really is, I've got my Gamma mainline, I've got my Stone, I can use that as a method feeder, I can flavour that, and I've got my LQ rig, which, I'm just convinced. Unfortunately, we can't see. Well, we can see with Gailing's footage, can't we?
You can.
That rig is so efficient. But then it's about those presentations.
Anthony's just asked, are your glugs PVA friendly? I use PVA sticks of boilie chrome with high leakage pineapple. I'd rather support the small companies than the big ones. Yeah, they are.
Very, very. It's a very different product. And that's, to be fair, since we did the first glug film with Carpology, it's been amazing because anglers have gone, I like the look of this glug, I've never seen it before, and you can add dried powdered insects into it, you can create this, and the beauty of it is no gimmick, it works. It's been designed for I swear by it. 90% of my time when I'm fishing hook baits, there will be a glugged hook bait in the mix, because they just work, and we know why they're working, because they're screaming out a flavour that has been proven to attract fish and stimulate the bite.
It was like today when I was fishing, I was using all glugged hook baits, but before I was putting them out, I was literally shaking the hook bait in one of the dried naturals, so it was going into I was using Daphne, but I tried a few different ones just so it would kind of explode a bit and try and get that extra attraction.
Beanie, and I know Gailey mentioned it as well, but stones wrapped in paste. I mean, that was what really kind of got the guys going down last week. Those tweaks, not of the system. We fished the system, but we tweak the system. So you can put paste around, a thin layer of paste, like Beanie has said there. You can squash micro pellet into it. I like, especially in the in the summer, I like to then coat it with the method mix. So I've got different breakdowns happening all the time. It's all about trying to get I've said before, if you hit a golf ball into the rough, it's very difficult to find it, but if it started to sparkle and smoke and things like that, you'd find it very quickly. That's what we're trying to do at Pallatrax here. We're very confident, and because we make everything ourselves, obviously, but we're just trying to, when it goes into the rough, and it's always in the rough unless you can see the fish, I want it to sparkle, and the way to sparkle is to scream out to their olfactory system, which is the way they smell / taste on the water. If you look at, and I go on about it all the time, I'm convinced if you study your quarry, you will always and only be a better angler, because then you start to really realise how they tick, and then you can come up. I think I see a lot of people, they go out week in, week out, fishing the same practice, and like they say, you'll never change. I'm very, very happy with my approach on the deck with the Stone and Gamma, as I said, but then it's a case of changing those baits on the day, like you do in all other areas of fishing. Carp fishing is the only area of fishing where I know people say, well, I'll have 50 kilos of jungle because that's going to be my bait for this year. And I've mentioned here many a time, you tell me a match angler that will say, well, I'm just going to fish on sweet corn this year and expect to be catching more and up the top. So Les is saying he always wraps stones in paste, and he certainly had a few when he last came down, didn't you?
Galen put a good question up a little while ago, saying, with the shorter days coming, any tips for those new to night fishing? Because we didn't really realise, did we, when those guys came, they'd never really fished overnight before, so that was quite different.
It's all about the prep, isn't it? Night fishing. I mean, it's almost like a list of things that you need to take, and most of it is orientated around lights, because that's the big stumbling point, isn't it? So having a decent head torch, like Sue's got these fantastic lights, which she's recently presented me, that are great for night shots and things like that. So, but yeah, it's a challenge. You've never done it before. You really want to go with somebody who's done it before and knows what they're up to, because it's a bit daunting, I should imagine. What's that?
Be scrambling up.
Yeah, that would have been a bit of a challenge for you, Dan. Dan's not very well at the moment. Hope you're feeling better, matey. Anything else to see there?
Terry Blake has just put one up saying, any plans for more tackle in the pipeline, like rods or luggage, for example?
Rods, luggage of... I don't know. Me and Sue were talking, and I've always been very frank and honest. I love what I'm doing, and and I do, with no arrogance, think I've got things right as best I can do within in the abilities I have, the infrastructure. Where we go with Pallatrax now, it's a bit of a blank canvas. I mean, grips has taken us all around the world, because I think now people are realising that grips is actually a third design. It's not just a hook pattern. And so many anglers aren't comfortable with using barbed. Barbed is all about, there for basically catch to kill. Then we went to barbless, and obviously that's got some issues. The grips have obviously overcome those issues. So that's giving us the opportunity to take the company forward. I'd love to do certain stuff like you've mentioned there, but make it all English based. I see too much stuff coming from abroad. Some of the quality is dubious and pricing is dubious and things like that. So I certainly would, but I don't. My intention is not to kind of go up against the big boys with all that kind of grief and hassle. We fish how we fish. We want to keep it to the top quality stuff. But if I can get stuff going forward made in this country, that's what I would do. And it would never be the cheapest, but it would be the cheapest I could make it, because I just want value for quality. It's a bit like, I suppose, my Tinny's been to Marks and Spencer's today, because in September Charlie bought a pair of shoes to go to school. They've not been made in the UK. You can see that by the tagline, and the sole fell off one of them. You're talking not 6 weeks or something like that, and I hate that about some of the stuff that goes in fishing. It breaks so quickly and things like that. Let's stay with quality, but it's a big market out there, and there's other things that I'm going to do in regards to chod setups and heli setups next year. You'll see some new grips patterns coming out. I mean, it's like, people say to me about, well, why don't you bring out more hook links? It's like, I can't beat Steam Link. I'd be lying to you if I said there was a better material, because it's Dyneema, it's not a braid, it does what it does. So I'm not, people say to me, well, why don't you bring it out in different colours? And it's like, that won't help anybody. Just take money out of people's pockets. So in a roundabout way, I don't know. I mean, the support we get now in Pallatrax is allowing us to grow, and and obviously I thank everybody for that support. But all I can assure you is whatever I'll do will be the best quality, and that's it.
Yeah. Tony's Anthony Brogdon saying he's been night fishing for years and he always forgets something. Don't we all? Beanie's saying she has a battery motion light, saves so much hassle in the night. Great idea, actually.
Especially werewolves knocking around.
Well, yeah.
The black cat, we've got a black cat down here. Tinny's seen it, I promise you. We've got one marauding around Ashmansworthy Pools.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Buy cheap, buy twice, you're right.
Yeah, you're right, Donna. So just before, because the clock's ticking, we'll give another shout out before it's drawn of, if you haven't, the live feed raffle, if you want to enter that, for 3 sets of the awesome grips in curve shanks, just PM yes to the Pallatrax Messenger page. So if we've got any other questions, folks, I mean, we've got more carpology footage. That's what Sue's down here.
Yeah,
we're doing, sorting stuff out. We've got loads of things. If you aren't a member of Team Pallatrax, folks, do feel free. It's a free initiative. It's just a load of friendly people. We don't have any trolls or anything like that. So just go onto my website at pallatrax.co.uk and you can join the team for absolutely free, and you get loads of discounts, and the main thing is the friendships, and I think what really was typified with Dan and Galen coming all the way over from Canada, never even having met us before other than online, and just it's a great friendly group. Hi Christopher, how you doing, mate? So any other questions? My maggots don't look too happy now.
No, they were still crawling a second ago.
But what you'll see with these pellets, again, you'll see different breakdowns. And it was mentioned earlier, what these pellets, these new pellets are, is great for scalding pellets. Now, I don't know if anybody does scalding pellets. So what you do is you just pour some boiling hot water over a tub of pellets and get in there after it's cooled down and mulch it around a bit. And then you can wrap that round your stone. You can throw out nice balls of it. But the thing is, if you think about it, those pellets have gone in there brand new, if that makes sense. So the trouble is, especially when the cold water is, it'll take a long time for them to start to break down. They break down very slowly. That's just always be aware. You can get some pellet the night before, soak it. So when you go the next day, that pellet is already breaking down. And then you can actually you can flavour those pellets and do things like that. So,
a couple of questions about fishings for next year. So
these are the team fishings.
How we're getting on with organising the team fishing. So
we're hard at work.
Yeah,
that's all we can say. Yeah, no, we've got lots of plans next year.
Yeah.
All over the country. So bear with us, but we've obviously got quite a few down here at Ashton's Worthy Pools, and we're going to look at we're just looking all over. Somebody's mentioned about the shrink tube.
Yeah, Terry Blake's asking about he's saying he's got some Pallatrax shrink tube, which I haven't used yet. What's the best method for shrinking? I'm only drinking tea.
Yeah, you need an Archer's. I honestly believe it's the best shrink tube in the wide world, and because I don't get it from the industry, I don't get it from the fishing industry, anything like that. I source because of quality, and the shrink ratio on that is amazing, and the quality. But it's nothing to do with the fishing industry. It comes out of like high-tech electronic parts where they're using really good shrink tubing within machinery to hold wires together, things like that. All I would ever say, be careful, firstly, but you're much better off whenever you use shrink tube. Is fine. Use a kettle that's got a very, very small spout, and so you get a proper jet of steam coming out, and then you literally said you're going to create a kicker, you just do it very carefully. If you can hold it with a little pair of pliers and curve everything. I just use my fingers, but make sure you don't steam the fingers off. But yeah, it's not, if you go who was
Anthony's just asking, just 2 seconds, how he enters this competition for the 3 packs of curve shank grips hooks. If you message yes to the Pallatrax business page, Dan's just answered it actually for you, so that's good. Just because that'll be getting drawn soon, so if there's anybody hasn't entered, get entering.
It will be drawn very soon. So,
sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, hopefully that's the shrink. As say, there's again, if you go on to Catch More Fish TV or even within Carpology, there is actually some footage of me making up the LQ rig, and you'll see the steaming process that I use on the LQ rig. I use 2 pieces on the LQ rig, one to create that kicker. And then one to create a very small anti-tangle boom that really not only pushes my have we got, can you just over there, Sue, there's some best rig wallets in the world, cheap as chips. So if just take one off her, and so you can see that's the first thing, and you do want to curve that. Oh, it's not really well focused. So that's my first piece, and then obviously the whole thing is very, that's what you get with steam link. You get something really, really rigid to something really supple. It's amazing stuff. So anti-eject. But the reason I have this piece, I'll just hook myself. The reason I have this piece is not only is it a boom to push it out when I'm casting, but also as a reset kind of button. I don't believe for a minute every fish that picks out that will get hooked. That's just, there's a lot of luck involved in all of this. But what that will do, that piece of, you can see how fine that's gone down. That's a reset. So if it gets picked up and dropped, it will just reset back in the same position. So hopefully that's helped. What I will do, actually, just want to thank John, who came down. He's made me some, because he saw me using these, and because I make lots of rigs for the team, the LQ rigs, so I can hang off lots of rigs. So John, thanks for my present. Right, so any other questions, folks?
No more coming in.
So I'm going to just go and get, while Sue tells you about whatever, I'm going to go
whatever,
and, go get the result of the raffle.
Oh, result of the raffle. Yeah. So last week we did a lot more filming with Carpology, so there'll be quite a few films coming out. One was obviously to do with the super boosted hook baits. One was on the booster sprays. One was on the liquids. We did a really interesting interview with Dan and Galen, who were obviously over from Canada, and that linked in really nicely because Shortly Curly, who did that, is
Shortly Curly?
Shortly Curly. He's quite short and curly.
Is that like Tally Curly?
It's a bit like that. He's actually doing some work with the Canadian Carp Society that Dan and Galen are involved in, so that tied in quite nicely. They got to meet him before that happens, because that'll be a virtual thing as well. But it was a really nice opportunity for them.
It's really lonely without them.
I know it is. It still feels really strange going down there.
We set up we set everything up, and when they departed, we had to go back and take down the bivvies and things. And there was a tear in my eye.
There was.
Or was it a fly?
Donna's asking where my accent's from. Donna, all over the place. Originally, I was born in Lancashire. Grew up in New Zealand, moved back to Lancashire, and I've been in County Durham for the last about 25 years.
Geordie.
So I'm kind of a Geordie. Well, you're a Geordie-ish as well.
I was born in Newcastle on Tyne. Yeah, I'm pure.
He's a proper Geordie.
My mum was actually going through it on a train, and she started having a baby, and that's why I ended up being born in Newcastle. Right, the winner of tonight's raffle,
dun, dun, dun.
And you're going to be able to
show it backwards.
Show it backwards.
Like this.
Yeah, you can't see. Oh, it's
you can. Look.
Tom
Bent.
So Tom Bent, you have won 3 packets. Please just PM me now, not to the message, but to Simon Pomeroy, and I will whiz this little prize out to you this week. So well done, Tom, for winning that. We always have a raffle on every Sunday slot live feed. Next live feed will be back on the Team Pallatrax page next Sunday, and then back here on the main Pallatrax page the following week, etc, etc. If you've got any questions about anything Pallatraxy or anything, to be quite honest, you can always contact any of us. Sue and I, or Messenger is easy to contact. You can always, if you want questioning about any of my products, feel free to call me at the office. That's another hour. We've now got din-dins. Tilly's making us dinner. I think it's something chickeny.
Very nice, very nice.
But hopefully me and Sue will get a couple more hours out on the bank. We've got people down for the next couple of days, some guests from Go Catch, which is it's the new app, which is basically a way for people to find fisheries and things like that. And so the owner is one of I don't know, but maybe both the owners are coming down. They're going to have a couple of days fishing with us and a bit of a chat. So cooking. Yeah, you can see why I'm slightly on the portly side, can't you, Dan? Slightly on the portly side. But no, thanks ever so much for so many people coming in tonight. It's great to see the numbers. We like, we love these doing these live feeds. Obviously, it's not like Sue can do them all the time, but
lately I seem to have done an awful lot.
Yeah, you did. You did it with
in fact,
the guys.
I've done more than you the last few weeks.
I've been gazumped, but no, like I say, it's brilliant with the support and the it's making Pallatrax really, really kind of buzz. And it's not like in the last 25 years I haven't got lots of different ideas. I can't wait to bring out my wheelbarrow because I think it's really good. So watch this space. The bigger we get, and that's that. You help us, by all means, help us send out the message. We're totally transparent. We haven't got a hidden agenda, and we do what we do. It might not be the same as the mainstream narrative, who obviously don't necessarily appreciate my position on things like dropping lead and poor quality baits and things like that. But like I say, we paddle our own canoe and we're very happy doing it, and we're so happy that so many of you are following suit. We're all in this together. So thank you as always. Rugby starting. They win 40 love. Is that rugby?
Tennis.
It's been a pleasure as always. From me.
And from me. Good night all.
We'll see you again. Stay here, folks. All the best. Cheers.